Hello everyone, and welcome to this audio podcast. This audio podcast is part of a Tinkle article. This audio podcast is part of a Monster Motley. This audio podcast is part of a Ztorm and Ostix announce. This audio podcast is part of the Bookish. This audio podcast is part of a Ztorm and Ostix production. As part of this audio podcast, a look at the research gap and research approach, the research question, and as part of a research, looking at the research question and a sort of the strengths and limitations of some works by Mohammed and Zilhus in around 2024-2025. Publication some works that looks at works in around an exposition on stratifying receptors, their idiosyncrasy surrounding early transplant immunobiology is a contemplative perspective. As part of the research gap and research approach, the publication or the works or the outlines looks at an exposition on stratified receptors and the idiosyncrasies surrounding early transplant immunobiology. As part of the sort of research question, the aims and objectives of this of this outline or the publication looked at of this publication surrounding investigating early literature, highlighting the importance of bridging healthcare disparities and inequalities through patient and public involvement, and summarized workings of social media platforms, RPSG and KDARs, and additionally the value of an effective multidisciplinary team, MDT, and healthcare science workforce. In as part of the strength of the publication, the outline highlights chemokine and chemokine receptors and leukocyte trafficking in human renal acute allograft rejection, immunobiology and stratifying receptors and transplant immunobiology and idiosyncrasy, immunosuppression therapy or pharmacotherapies and AAR, and bridging healthcare disparities and inequalities through PPI. Through PPI. The publication also looks at perspectives from the RPSG and KDARS platforms surrounding immunobiology and pathology services. As part of the limitations, since this is since the publication is a retrospective, the publication focuses on retrospective literature surrounding transplant immunobiology. That draws this audio podcast to a close. This audio podcast is part of a Tinkle article. This audio podcast is part of a Monster Motley. This audio podcast is part of a Ztorm and Ostix announce. This audio podcast is part of the Bookish. This audio podcast is part of a Ztorm and Ostix production.